Hello, my name is Raymond Garchevsky, and this is coming to you from my home here in Cave Junction, Oregon. Tonight's subject is titled, "To my fellow Oregonians, my fellow Americans, it is time for us to face the monster." We are reaching a time in the history of our country like none other. The quality of life that I experienced as a youth growing up in the 50s is gone forever. We have slowly, incrementally, morphed into a society where our freedoms are being stripped away from us by the very people that we put into office and support with our hard-earned money. Now, I don't know about you, but when I pay someone to do a job, they work for me. I don't work for them. Somehow, slowly but surely, we have been turned around in our heads where we fear government, our hirelings, not rule over them. As most of you know, I am an honorably retired police sergeant from Pacifica Police Department, a suburb of San Francisco, California. I joined the force, and at the time that I did so, I took an oath to defend and to protect the Constitution and the people who paid my salary. I had a direct contact with such people. It was real, not just some vague idea. They were prominent in my consciousness, in my mind. Not the bureaucracy that had morphed into a monster through the decades to arrive at the instrument of tyranny that it is today. The stirrings of what our nation was to become was beginning to rear its ugly head and was instrumental in my forced retirement. I was blessed to have worked for an honorable man, a man of integrity, Neil Tremaine, the chief of police of Pacifica back in the 60s. He was removed from office shortly after I was forced to retire. Thus the changes began. The good cops were being swept out to make room for the New World Order types that have become prominent today. I cringe when I look at the modern-day law enforcement. Most of these heavy-handed, uniformed yahoos would not have lasted in my day. A shift from service to ruling, to bullying, and intimidating people has taken place. Now, don't get me wrong. There are quite a few good cops still around, and are service-minded, but they are acting in the shadows of cops who have sold their souls for a job, to blindly follow corporate policy, to obey orders, to check their judgment at the door, and to proceed to robotically carry out administrative policies. The problem is the orders come from the corrupt cops who wind up in administrative positions. Look out, Nuremberg. Here we go again. It would seem that the heavy-handed mindset arising from the policymakers is where the problem is focused. It does no good to exercise blanket judgment on all cops. That just feeds the insanity. We, the people, the sovereigns, are the makers of law, the ones who pay the salaries. We are the real government. These criminally minded policy workers work for us. When are you going to get that through your heads? I have personally faced down Oregon and Josephine County government, its courts, and its enforcers repeatedly over the last 10 years of my life. It is all documented on Google and on my website. They went after me for 35 to 40 years in prison on trumped-up charges, convicted the juristic person in 2 trials, whom I was able to prove was not me, this living, breathing, flesh and blood, sentient natural man. Yes, the Christ, because I simply refused to accept their offer of contracting, that is, accepting their sentencing, and they threw me out of jail with no charges. I am what is experienced in our country as a free man. Many of you rail because I use the word Christ to define my level of consciousness, the consciousness of a simple man of truth. Your hackles are raised because I introduce the fact that damn near all of you are laboring through your lives while under the spell of satanic mind control. You live your lives vicariously based on dead concepts and ideas that have been programmed into you by outer forces, be it mainstream media, government, religion, etc. They set rules for you to dance to, and you wear yourselves out, trying to please them, to gain their favor, to convince them not to visit their wrath upon you. But it doesn't work, does it? You have forgotten who you are. You are what I am, a Christ. Simple men and women of truth. But you suffer from amnesia of that fundamental spiritual fact. You believe you are slaves, and you live your lives accordingly. You have never known any other way to live. Yes, there are more of you than there are of me, but that doesn't change the fact that I am free, and you are slaves. Hell, isn't it? As John Wayne was noted to say, it is fact, not brag. Where are the John Waynes, the Audie Murphys? Where have they gone? Men of integrity, men who faced their fears and went beyond them. Where are the men whose actions match their words? Men who could be depended upon, not to wither under fire, under attack. I cannot speak for you, but I know who and what I am, and it certainly is not defined by any nebulous, outer directing, institutional process or policies. A Christ, a simple man or woman of truth, has always been a thorn in the side of satanically ruled politics and religions. Clever, web-weaving storytellers who are entertaining, but have an agenda to manifest in enslaving you and your loved ones Those are the people you worship, you pander to. They have been with us since the beginning of time. To all of you guys out there, let me tell you that they put their pants on just like you and me, one leg at a time. Why and how in the hell have you become so frightened of an idea that anyone can be superior to you? You must consent to such inferior status. Break the spell that binds you, and you will understand who you truly are, and remove yourself from the membership to such satanic corporate organizations. Step away from your 14th Amendment status, that of a member of the corporate government, which practices color of law, not true law, who contracts his life away by agreeing to follow all of the rules of the corporate government which profess to be law, but are not. If you are not a member of the corporation, its rules do not apply to you. Take your rightful position of that of a man or woman of a sovereign people, those who are the creators of government, not its subjects. You folks are living a twisted life, where confusion and violence is rampant, where up is down, left is right, and might makes right. There is no need to buy into their violent enticements. Just boycott. Boycott. Boycott the hell out of them. Remove your support, and watch how quickly the boogeyman dissolves. I perceive that by now you get the point that I am making. What's holding you up? The dictionary definition of monster is a person who excites honor or horror by wickedness, cruelty, etc. And is it not time to face the satanic monster that is bent on enslaving you and yours?